Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Mezco Toyz 112 Collective John Wick Chapter 2 movie, John Wick figure review. Let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
All right, so we got the 10 can. Not gonna spend too much time on the box. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. They out here flaming my boy. Is this figure terrible? That's what we want to find out. All right, let's bust this bad boy open and see what's what. All right, here we go. John Wick, as seen in John Wick Chapter 2. There have been 3 John Wick movies so far. Probably one of the most popular action shoot 'em up bang bang stars of this time. Keanu Reeves definitely did a very good job playing this part, and he did a lot of training with weapons and tactical armor and gear and maneuvers and all of that stuff to really play this role and make everything look authentic. So we have been waiting for this figure from Mezco for about 2 years now, eagerly anticipating this guy to see if he will knock out the MAFEX version and be crowned the best John Wick. And is it the best John Wick? Not a cheap figure. After taxes and shipping, I think this guy was almost 120, 130 bucks for him to arrive at your doorstep. So with a price tag like that, everything should be spot on. He should be in tip-top shape, pristine. Head sculpt should be on point. Tailoring on the suit should be on point. And I don't think that's what we got here. We saw this figure go through quite a few changes over the past 2 years. You know, sometimes he looked good when he was out on display at some of these conventions. Sometimes he looked bad. But in the end, we wanted the buck to be something other than the Joker buck because you want that range of articulation. So a lot of people were hoping for maybe one of the Gomez bucks. And we wanted double-jointed elbows along with that more articulated buck. We didn't get any of that. So taking a closer look at the neutral head sculpt that is attached to him out of the package, it's not a horrible head sculpt, it's just not Keanu Reeves. The likeness is just not there. I don't really like the skin tone. Like I mentioned in my quick unboxing that I put up yesterday, it looks like he's a Middle Eastern dude, the way the skin tone is here. And I saw a couple people mention that he was actually born in the Middle East, but that don't matter. This does not look like Keanu Reeves. I do not like the way the tailoring looks on the tie in this portion up here. It looks a little lackluster for Mezco. It looks like it's a little below their skill set. It kind of almost looks like Soap Studios, who is another company that does 112 figures and soft goods. And they've been actually getting better. But one thing that I've always commented on with Soap Studios is that for their price point, I feel like their quality needs to be improved. And this just does not look like it's on the level of what Mezco has put out in the past. And because this is the Joker buck, it should be noted that this is the head and neck combo. So it's all one piece. So any swaps you want to do would have to be with other figures from Mezco that have the head and neck all in one part. And just giving you a wider shot here, you know, I just don't really like this body type for Keanu Reeves. He has a very distinct body type, slender guy, but he's like bow-legged, and it's just a certain way that he stands and walks, and I just don't feel like this Joker buck represents that well. I do not like the way the legs work on the Joker buck. They just always look a little like knock-kneed and weird, and one leg is longer than the other. I mean, most people have one leg longer than the other, but again, it's just not right. For them to have used this particular buck and for it to still be a hit in my eyes, they would have had to nail the head sculpt and everything else that comes along with them. So we'll get into the other head sculpt. So the suit jacket with the vest and everything underneath the jacket is removable. I'll get into that. I don't like the way this looks. These folds in the back, you know, you got to kind of play with that articulation there, but the tailoring on the suit is not terrible. I just don't particularly like the color. It's not like a jet black. It doesn't look like a tailor-made, like high-end suit. I do like what they did with the belt. That looks pretty detailed. It looks okay. But that tie, I don't know about that, man. Shoes look pretty good. I like that you can see like the treads down there. You can see his laces and what have you, so that looks okay. But straight out of the package, he comes with 2 fists, and you can see his ring there on his left hand. So that is a theme that will be reoccurring. And standard Mezco wrist pegs. And then he's got a set where the right hand is open with the fingers slightly spread, kind of cupped, and the left hand is sort of like in a karate chop. He's got the thumb tucked in and all of the fingers close together. And he's got a right hand that's kind of cupped where it's like a hole down the middle. So it looks like he could utilize this one to hold like a sword. And then he's got a left hand that's open with the fingers kind of close together. It's cupped. This one looks like it'll be utilized to maybe rest some of the larger weapons in that hand, as he has the trigger fingered hand on the right arm. Then he's got a right hand that looks like it's like in a striking pose. You know, John Wick is a martial artist as well. He's not just crazy with the guns. He will beat your ass as well. And then he's got a left hand that's open that could be used to hold something. Finger slightly spread. Looks like the pointer finger is extended the most. Not really the one you would use to hold any guns or anything like that, but a welcomed addition regardless. And then of course he's got 2 trigger fingered hands. So let's talk guns. Let's get into his guns. Well, first and foremost, he does come with a little wrist watch, so I'll get that on his left arm. And it is that. You can barely get his other arm over to make it look like he's kind of pulling up his sleeve, you know, because you don't have the articulation needed to make that happen, but it's there. It's on his arm. So you get 5 handguns, each with an extra magazine, but I see something odd. So that particular one that he has in his hand right now, I guess is a 45. You gun nuts in the comments, let me know what's up. But he has 2 of that version, and you can see it looks like the slide is kind of back on this one, but you cannot pull out the magazine on this gun. You know, most Mezco guns have that feature, although you do get the extra clip. So I'm not sure what the deal was with that. But you know what? I don't even like the detail on these guns. I don't think they are as detailed as some guns of the past. Now, don't get me wrong, it's better than anything Marvel Legends will ever put out, but I don't think this is up to Mezco standards, honestly. I don't know what's going on here. And you know what? Maybe the slide is not really back. Maybe that's just the design of this particular gun. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comments what's going on with this. But there's the extra magazine. And at least they kept the detail with the bullet there at the top. So that looks good. He looks fine holding each item. But what am I going to do with a dude that is a gun-wielding, karate chopping guy that doesn't have double jointed elbows? I'm just really annoyed by that. I'm annoyed by this body. I just hate this body for John Wick. And then he's got 2 smaller pistols. I guess these are Glocks. You guys let me know in the comments below. Again, each one has an extra magazine, but it doesn't look like you can remove the magazine from the gun, and the slide doesn't work on this one either. And that has been a feature that I have been praising Mezco about since day one. So the slide doesn't work. The detail is not really there in my opinion, and it doesn't seem like you can remove the magazine, although you do get an extra magazine. But yeah, there he is with what appears to be a Glock. And obviously you can get him to dual wield the guns. And then his final handgun is the largest of the bunch. So you get 2 of what I think are 45s and 2 what I believe to be Glocks, and then whatever this is here. Now this one does have the feature where you can remove the magazine, but the slide doesn't work. So the magazine is removable here. You can see the bullet there at the top of the chamber, so that's cool. I don't know why they would remove that feature from the guns here. I mean, I guess these are all kind of new designs that they've never had before, but I mean, come on. That is the whole thing about Mezco, the reality behind what they put out, the authenticity behind the stuff. So why would you remove that feature? I don't understand, especially for somebody that's known for gunplay. It doesn't make any sense. But you do get the extra magazine with this gun as well. This is probably my favorite out of the 3 pistols that you have. And before we get into the larger guns, it should be noted that he is packed in with a little combat knife. And so yeah, I had said that this particular hand could be utilized for a sword or something like that, but he's packed in with the knife. You know, he's proficient with all types of weaponry. Man, I hate the way this suit bunches up here. It looks like he's got shoulder pads. You don't wear shoulder pads in a suit, in a nice tailor-made European suit. Come on. All right, let's get into the big shit. So shotgun here with the extra shell on the outside for easy reload. Somebody reminded me about that when I reviewed the MAFEX John Wick. I had forgot about that in the movie. At first I thought it was out there to show that it was one of the shells that were popping out, but that would not make any sense. So yeah, this looks pretty good. Again though, I still feel like all of these guns are lacking in detail, at least for Mezco's standards. But he can hold it. You can see him supporting the gun with that other hand, and that looks pretty good. Let me see if I can get him pointing it. So yeah, that's not bad. You can actually get it up closer to his face, but I mean, with the shotgun, you don't necessarily want to do that, I guess. I'll test that out with the next gun, but not too bad. Here's a closer look at that. And then he's packed in with this beauty. Tell me in the comments below what you would call this. And this does have a working feature here, so you can kind of pump that back and forth. And you can hold that with both hands. It looks pretty good. And let's backtrack a little bit. You actually get every muzzle flare that Mezco has put out. So this is the one that they put out for the shotgun blast. That looks good. There's the other shotgun, the previous one. And there's the pistol. See that bullet right at the front of the flare. Always get a kick out of that. And then his final gun is what appears to be some sort of assault rifle. Again, you let me know in the comments the exact make, model of whatever this is supposed to be. And you can actually remove the magazine on this one. So that's cool. And you do get an extra magazine with this gun as well. Now that I'm really looking at it and looking at the scope, and I can see the little dial here at the top of the scope. So I don't know, maybe it can work either way. You guys let me know. And there's another muzzle flare effect. This one is different. I don't know if I've seen this one before, and it looks like it's kind of bent. I don't know if it's supposed to be on an angle like this or what, but you can see a bullet at the front of the flare. So this obviously is not for the shotgun, but you can see it's kind of like angled downward. Maybe you have to spin it a certain way. And you know, the lack of articulation in the elbows and the fact that it's that sort of head-neck combo makes it kind of difficult for you to try to get his eye up to the sights and get him aiming this properly. You know, if you had more articulation in the head and neck, then you could kind of curve his head and neck. You know, it looks okay from that angle, but when you get him straight on, you realize that it's not really the best that it could be. There's also this tri-pronged muzzle flare as well. So this was something that was first introduced with the Punisher figure, if I'm not mistaken, the one with the onesie, I believe. Then he's packed in with one additional head scope, which is certainly the better of the two. Still not the greatest likeness to Keanu Reeves in my opinion, but the battle damage version, I guess, covers up the fact that it doesn't look as good. Both of these head sculpts are nice, but they're just not nice for the likeness to Keanu Reeves. You can see little scars and scrapes and what have you, and he looks angry, and you can see the brow lines that actually kind of covers up his forehead ratio is kind of nuts. He's looking kind of caveman-ish, but this one definitely looks better. This is probably the one I would utilize more so than the neutral head. I think maybe if they made the beard a little darker, that could have helped, but I don't know. It's still off. And then he's also packed in with his trusty sidekick. Did they have a name for the dog in the movie? I don't remember. This is a static piece. There is no articulation on him at all. The detail is okay, but I feel like the MAFEX version is actually better. I'll get that out for a comparison shortly. It would have been nice if at the very least the head could move. I believe that was the only bit of articulation on the MAFEX version. Obviously you can get him standing next to his companion here. And then aside from that, I think the big draw for a lot of people with this figure was this chest, the weapons chest, where you can put all of his weapons and the coins and the smoke grenade canisters, which I haven't even shown yet. So it does open up, so I'll get that all together. This is okay. It's very lightweight, but the detail is decent. It does look like it is wood. You can see this little handle here. You know, they did a good job on the detail with this for sure. And you can see these two panels where you can put in the guns and the smoke canisters, the knife, the coins, everything could be packed down in there. And there's a look at that stuff. So if you ever done a puzzle, you should have no problem putting this together. I'll get this all situated, and the magic of editing will have this done in a second. And this is coming along nicely. I'm not sure about the magazines, if they go in that way or if it's this way. They don't really, well, I guess it's more secure if it's the other way around. Let's see. Everything else seems to fit pretty snug. It's just the magazines that are kind of funny style, but there's that stuff in there, in that particular layer. And then there's all the gold coins. And I'm a little annoyed with this trunk. I'm not exactly sure how this stuff should go. I mean, these racks do fit in on either side, so you can have the coins on the right and the guns on the left, or vice versa. There's also this little piece, which I'm not 100% sure what it's utilized for. I feel like you can use it to just kind of pry these out. So maybe that's what it's for. I'm not 100% sure on that. But yeah, I don't know. Once you get one out, it's easier to just get the other one out too. And then there's the mystery of how these guns should be fitted inside of here on these racks, because they don't really all sit upright. You would have to take the magazine out of this one. And for the record, this is listed as an assault rifle on the back of the package, so it's just got a scope, I guess. But sorry, I just want to give you a little more light in there. And this shotgun is way too long to really go upright or even upside down, straight on. You just got to kind of lay it. So I don't even really know what's going on here. Maybe I'm an idiot and I need to work with these a little bit more, but you can't have them upright because then you won't be able to get the racks in. So you have to kind of lay them down. So I don't know. It's not the greatest design. And then that's pretty much it in terms of accessories, except for the stand, which all Mezco figures come with a stand, but I never show it. And there he is without the suit jacket on, so you can see he's got the vest, and he's got the blue dress shirt and a tie, which again I don't like, and I just really don't like this body type for Keanu Reeves, but I guess he looks pretty cool in a vanilla stance like that. See the watch, see his ring, you know. Guess that's pretty cool. Again, for just some random goon or just some random guy, fine, we could use this body all day as far as maybe just changing out the head. But for John Wick, for us anticipating this figure and for this to be the body type for John Wick, I'm just not with it, man. I just don't like the way the pelvic area, the lower legs are on this particular figure. So I'll go over the articulation, but take a look at this. Here's a look at the suit jacket. So I had mentioned shoulder pads. It is padded up here in the shoulders. So I don't know why they would do that, because that also hinders the articulation a little bit when you're trying to get his arms up when he has the suit jacket on. So there is some padding up here, and that just doesn't really make sense to me. I think the head is kind of big for this body as well. I think that might be part of the problem. I want to like this figure so bad. I'm trying to find any little pose or any stance that I'm happy with. But every look for this guy, different head sculpt or jacket on or jacket off, every single solitary look makes him look like a different ethnicity. This guy has been every ethnicity throughout this review. Alright, so in terms of articulation, we all know, once again, this is the Joker buck, so you're not going to get the greatest head neck articulation. He'll look down just about that far, up that far. You can turn him left to right without an issue, and you can get pivot. But because it's all one piece, you're not going to get the greatest range. On the shoulders, you know, without the suit jacket on, they'll come up pretty far. You could do a full 360 if you want to go ahead and rip the shirt off. There is no upper bicep swivel, no cut, single jointed elbow that swivels on that joint as well. I think I saw somebody mention how his arms are really slender and too small at the forearm. That could be part of the problem with this buck for sure. You get a swivel and a hinge on the wrist. You may want to pop off the hand and then rotate the wrist in order for more articulation when you trying to wield the guns or what have you. But same thing on both sides as far as the arms go. Upper torso, there is a little bit of crunch and rotation in the upper torso, and you get a little bit of ab crunch as well, but it's really not enough for somebody who is a martial artist. You know, it's just not enough. Pelvic area, again, I don't really like the way it looks in the pelvic area, but you can get his legs up just about that far. Split only goes about that far. There is upper thigh swivel, there is a double jointed knee, and there is a hinge and a pivot on the foot. All right, let's do some quick size comparisons and I'm gonna get you up out of here. So on the left is the Mezco Redpool Deadpool, and on the right is the Mezco The Dark Knight Returns or Rises or whatever one it is. Their very first 112 figure, and you can see how John Wick compares to the two of those. And there's a trio of psychopathic killers. We have the Netflix Punisher on the left, who was also put on the wrong butt, and then on the right is the comic-based Punisher. And that looks ridiculous because his neck is too long, but I was trying to see if you wanted to get Wick into something more tactical, but this just doesn't look good because the neck is too long. John Bernthal in this suit doesn't look too bad though, but if you put the head down too far, he kind of loses the neck. You gotta kind of half it on there so it looks good. That I'm okay with. That's not bad. But again, any of the figures that have the head and neck in one, and you can see all of that paint rub on the neck there, but any of the figures that have this combo, you could kind of do some swaps and play around and do some kit bashes. And then there's the two MAFEX versions that were released. So on the left is the Chapter 1 version from MAFEX, and on the right is the Chapter 2 version from MAFEX. But you can see how those all stack up. MAFEX used the same body for both of their John Wick figures, and I was never really happy with that figure either because I didn't like the pelvic area. Again, I don't feel like it represented Keanu Reeves's body type, but I do think that MAFEX probably did a better job with the head sculpts at least. And then there's a look at the two dogs. So on the left is the MAFEX version. Like I said, that was more kind of like jet black. And then on the right is the Mezco version. They're both good for fill-ins for dogs for any type of display you might want to do. But like I said, the head does move. Actually, it does more than rotate. There's a hinge on the MAFEX one too. So at the very least, you have that articulation, you know, for 110, 120 bucks. They could have definitely made it where the head could move on the Mezco one at least. And there's a good look at those. Chapter 1, John Wick from MAFEX next to the Mezco. And Chapter 2. So yeah, man, Mezco Chapter 2 John Wick, disappointing to say the least. Unfortunately, they picked the wrong body type. They didn't really nail the head sculpts, and the accessories look kind of lackluster. I'm really at a loss for words. I'm confused. I don't know what happened with this figure, especially with all of the time that it took and as many times as it got pushed back. So for the price point and what you get here, this is not really one I would recommend. However, if you already ordered it and it's on its way, at the very least you do have a bunch of weapons and things that you can use to bolster one of your other assassins or sort of gun-toting types. You know, obviously you could add to Punisher's armory or Deathstroke or any one of those characters. So for the accessories, you know, it's kind of cool, but it is a pricey figure, and I think they kind of bait and switched us here a little bit. So thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell down there, and until next time, peace.
That's crispy.